of course, we need to deal with dance. And this is actually Dance II. So this was shown in Paris in 1910. We're looking at the one at the top. And it's nearly identical in composition to Dance I. Its simplifications of the body form were initially attacked as inept or willfully crude, because when you look at those body forms in the image, they are so basic. And we can see that Dance II has a little more detail than the original dance. Dance II, again, is on the top. Also noted was the work's radical visual flatness, the fact that there is absolutely no concept of perspective anywhere. Unlike Harmony in Red, where at least the woman is standing between the table and the wall, giving us a sense of depth, there's none of that here. We have no concept of where these figures exist within our concept of space. So the elimination of perspective and foreshortening creates the illusion that the near and farther figures are the same size and the sky is the same plane of blue color. This all throws off our sense of spatial reality. Here, the figure at the left moves purposefully. So we've got our figure right over here, who's got this very purposeful movement, even though he doesn't appear to be actually stepping on anything. The strength of the body is emphasized by the sweeping, unbroken contour of the rear foot as it moves up into the body, as we move up through this form, and we get this perfect arch moving up. It gives us this sense of kinetic energy, of potential. The other dancers seem so light that they nearly float across the surface. In fact, in one case, this dancer seems to be flying more than dancing. This figure finds itself in a position that is virtually impossible otherwise. The arm of the dancer on the right literally stretches as it reaches towards this hand, as we see this hand coming together with the presumed leader of the dance. Where momentum has broken the circle, the dancer's speed is barely contained by the edges of the canvas. We can imagine this as the dancers spin rapidly. Now, we're getting a sense in this piece of a form of primitivism. Instead of looking at masks, though, we're looking at elements of culture. In this case, probably looking back at African dance and their impression of it. Remember, this is a different time that we're dealing with. This is the early 20th century, so African dance is something that people look at, but they don't worry about what is that dance. Is that coming of age? Is it divination? Is it death or something else? Instead, they look at it and go, wow, it's primitive, it's energetic, and that's what Matisse might be trying to get at, this sort of primitive idea. And to them, primitive often meant a sense of innocent energy, the sort of energy you see in a 4-year-old running around continuously. And they would see that in these native populations. Again, remember, different times, so they're not interpreting it properly because they don't have the information in the first place. So Dance II is also more intense in terms of color, and the dancers' bodies become more sinewy and more energetic, trying to get across this primitive energy, this primitive innocence, almost primitive sensuality, innocent sensuality that they saw in these cultures. Now, in whatever canvas they appear, these are no ordinary dancers, but mythical creatures in this sort of timeless landscape. This piece, and dance in general, Matisse once said, meant life and rhythm. To him, this captured sort of the essence of life itself, and by simplifying it, by cutting out all the details that we don't really need, it becomes just a hair bit more universal. It becomes something that we can all read something into. And the thing that you can't avoid reading into is energy, both potential and real energy as these dancers move around the canvas.